I have received several requests asking me if I would do a video about beginner-friendly fountain pens. So this is that video. And I looked through my collection, and I've also included my first fountain pen ever that I purchased for myself in here. And these are from my own collection and what I consider to be beginner fountain pens. So let's get this video started. So I'm going to be going from the lowest price to the highest in terms of these pens, and that's the order I'm going to go with. So the first one we have here is the Pilot Kakuno. It is very good for people who want to do very fine lines, because the nib I have on this one is extra fine. Now they do have a range of different nib widths, like extra fine, fine, medium, and I don't know if they have broad. But this one that I have is an extra fine, and I purchased this, and at the time I wasn't sure if my preference was a fine or extra fine, but I purchased the extra fine to try it out and realized that it is hairline thin. So I don't use this very much and wish that I got either the fine or the medium. But I wanted to include this as the lowest price. I think this cost me like close to $10. It was at the time, this was years ago. Now it might be, you know, inflated, but this one I would recommend because it's just easy to start out. It's very low budget, and it's a very hardy pen, and it's just very, very simple. You know, I think they have converters for it, or it just takes an international converter, which is what I have in there. It's empty right now, and you can just easily get your hands on a Pilot Kakuno. And I know a lot of people also use it for drawing, but yeah, this is very, very low budget friendly, and it works. So the Pilot Kakuno is the first one here. And then the next budget-friendly one is, let's see, this is the Platinum Preppy. So this one is specifically, I think, from last year, I believe, the design at least. I have, what do I have on here? Might be just a fine nib. But they make like nice cartridges that you can just like pop them in and then use it. I've used this at the office. Just because it's so low maintenance, and I just brought along cartridges with me, and because at the office I didn't want to deal with, you know, like inking it up with syringes or anything like that. So I just popped in the converter. When I ran out, I just popped another one in, and you're good to go. So the best thing about it is if you don't use it for a while, it's not going to dry out as fast as other fountain pens, because there is actually a sealing mechanism in the cap itself. So I will just show you. So if you see there's a spring over there, seal is right there, that plastic cup. So if I push it in, the spring mechanism seals the opening right here, so the ink doesn't dry out. And this lasts me forever. This pen is just, because it's very budget friendly, I had no problem just leaving it at the office or on my desk at work, and I don't have to worry about losing it or misplacing it, because it didn't cost me a lot. It's very lightweight, and I would definitely recommend this if you have no fountain pen experience and you want a really budget-friendly pen to start out with, but you also want something that is not going to be too complicated and it's not going to hinder your fountain pen journey, because, you know, some pens are a little bit more finicky than others, and this one I think is a very safe bet. And it's a really reliable writer. It will not dry out really quickly. This is perfect for beginners. So I would definitely recommend the Platinum Preppy. Next one on my list is the Kaweco. This makes a good beginner pen because also budget friendly. I think I purchased this about $30 or so Canadian at the time. This particular one was more because this is a special color edition that they came up with about 2 years ago. This is the olive, and the clip you had to purchase separately, but the basic colors of the Kaweco is about $35 Canadian now. So I would still think it's a really budget-friendly pen. It's made out of plastic, it's very light, and you don't have to worry too much about it, you know, being scratched or dropping it because it's not like made out of expensive resin or anything. So I would definitely recommend this if you like the look of pocket pens, and if you want to bring it with you, like say in your pocket, this pen is definitely the one for you because it just uncaps, and yeah, it's just perfect. I just love it. It's really comfortable to write with. Now I will say the nib, I have had some issues before, but nothing serious. It's just some nibs. The Kaweco nib is a bit strange. Sometimes they write very smooth, and sometimes it's I wouldn't say scratchy, but the writing experience for the nib, I feel like you would get more smoother nibs on the Kakuno and the Platinum Preppy pens. Again, I would totally recommend this if you're into the look of the Kaweco pens, and if you want a pocket pen to start out with. So that's the Kaweco Sport. The next one is a favorite of mine, and it took me a long time to finally purchase it because I just didn't get around to it. And this is this Pilot Metropolitan. It has these really nice houndstooth design on it, and I just love the look of it. And it's like a metal body, but, or is it metal, or yeah, metal, a type of metal, and it's still very light. But this pen, I think this is probably my top favorite out of all of these. It's so easy to use. It doesn't really look like a fountain pen. So I brought this to work, and I use this. I've used this in the office. I feel like people are not going to ask you about it. It's not very eye-catching, and the gray body just really blends in with, you know, everything else that may be in an office environment. So I would not cap this pen, but the nib is just very reliable. It's amazing beginner-friendly pen. You have to buy the converter to go with it because I don't think it comes with it. I have this one in the fine. Is it the fine? No, I have this one in the medium. Well, keep in mind that if you buy like Japanese branded pens, the nib is going to be a lot more thinner. The line width is thinner than German or just European fountain pen nibs. So I usually like a true fine nib. So knowing that, I tried to Pilot, and this one I had to change it for a medium nib. So again, these nibs you can swap them out. You just unscrew it and it comes out, and you can buy replacement nibs if you want. So if you bought a extra fine or a fine and you don't like it, might be too thin for you, just go for a medium. So I would recommend going for a medium nib in this. I just found that it's a little too thin for my liking for the fine. And if you choose like a broader nib, you'll be able to see the ink properties better. For example, the sheening and the shading in the ink, the shimmer, you'll be able to see more if you choose a broader nib. So that's another reason why I decided to go with a medium nib on this one. And yeah, I think this one is just a perfect pen. And then next on the list will have to be the Sailor LeCoule. Now, this is not really mentioned in a lot of places as a beginner-friendly pen. Usually the ones that's very recommended is the Pilot Metropolitan, Platinum Preppy, and the Kakuno. But this one is a sailor's entry-level pen. So it's called the Sailor LeCoule. I don't know how you really pronounce that. But it's sailor's entry-level fountain pen. And this one is in the rose quartz. And I did a video of it years ago, but it's a really beautiful rose quartz color. It's exactly like rose quartz color. And the nib is just entry-level sailor nib, but this is a very, very smooth and reliable writer as well. You do have to buy the converter. Let's see, yes. I believe you do have to buy the converter. I'm not sure if it comes with it. Depends where you purchase it, but yeah, I totally recommend it if you're into the color. The next pen would be this Lamy Safari. I put it in this list because if you have no experience about writing with a fountain pen, it has these grooves which you can train your fingers to hold it. And I believe this design is great because I think it was meant for elementary students in Germany. And it helps with, learning how to write cursive if you're not used to it. And it just guides your hands to be where it needs to be. So it's really comfortable, but you would really have to try it out and see if it works for you, because some people don't like this groove here. So, but I definitely have no problems with it, and I like it. Now, Lamy Safari's nibs are really a hit or miss. Sometimes they come scratchy, and I myself have had to exchange nibs or replace nibs multiple times. I don't know if they're just like the quality is going down. They do say they test every single nib. So yeah, so it's very light. Again, has a really unique clip design, and there's no other pen like it. So if that floats your fancy, I would definitely, this is another option. It's in a lot of pen collectors' collection. It's just a very classic pen. So that's a Lamy Safari. And then lastly, on my beginner fountain pen list is this TWSBI Eco. So the TWSBI Eco, this was my first fountain pen purchase to myself. This is in the white, and I was attracted to this because I was just mesmerized by looking at the ink sloshing around in there. That really piqued my interest in fountain pens at the time as a beginner, and I thought that was so cool that you can actually see through, that you can see the ink in there moving around. And I don't know, I just felt that was like, that made the experience of a first fountain pen even more fun for me, and that really kept my interest going. And I loved this pen. I actually went in the store and I tried out different nib widths, and then I ended up choosing a fine, or no, this is an extra fine nib. I chose an extra fine because the TWSBI Eco nibs tend to run a bit broader than other Asian nibs. So TWSBI, I definitely would go with extra fine. It is a larger pen, but it's very hardy. There's nothing wrong with this pen. I've had it for years, and it's just so reliable. I put my inks in it, and it hardly ever gives me any problems. It's just such a problem-free pen. What can I say? And the capacity is very large here. You can put a lot of inks in here. It will last you for days and months, and it's, you know, good for drawing in that way. So definitely recommend this TWSBI Eco as a first fountain pen purchase. So these are all my beginner fountain pens that I categorize these as beginner fountain pens, but I think the top ones, if you're a beginner, I would say TWSBI Eco if you want to have fun and see the ink sloshing around in there. I think this pen is very reliable. It's also the most expensive out of the bunch, but this would be highly recommended. And then I would recommend, if the ink sloshing around is not your thing, I would go for this if you want to use it in an office or at home. It doesn't matter. This is just one of my favorite pens, and you don't have to baby it. This is a pen that will probably even stay in your collection if you are no longer, you know, new to fountain pens. This is definitely staying in my collection, so I recommend this Pilot Metropolitan. These two I recommend as your first fountain pen purchase. Other than these, all of these over here are okay to be your first ever fountain pen, and you will not be disappointed. So yeah, that is my, let's put these two over here because those should be your second fountain pen purchase. And then these ones, your first. So I hope this video has been helpful for those that want to get into fountain pens and not sure which one to get first. This has been my experience with the pens, and your experience might be different, but I'm pretty confident that these pens will lead you in the right direction for your first few months in the fountain pen hobby. And remember that it is going to be a long, deep rabbit hole. So be prepared, and I have warned you that once you buy your first fountain pen, I cannot guarantee you that you will not accumulate several more pens following your first fountain pen. So, but consider yourself pen-abled. So thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, please leave it down below, and I will catch you guys next time.